Welcome back to Blood on the Bayou Series 3. The adventure begins. This is round 2 with Charles on Victor and Joseph on Kassai. My name's Jonathan, and I have Josh here helping me kind of review this gameplay that kind of occurred a little while ago. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing good. I'm pretty excited to see this. I think that this Kassai list is the more aggressive, like draw swords list that was popularized by the Midwest guys up in a battle hardened, I think, in Minneapolis, with Andrew Rothmel performing pretty well on it. And then
He's going up against Charles though, and Charles made it to top 4 of the Blood on the Bayou Series 2. On this Victor list, I believe probably the same Victor list, and was able to make it to the end with some really cheeky pummel plays, if I remember correctly.
Well, we'll see. This we're going back here to the heavy meta. We've got Guardian versus Warrior. Just gonna grind out some value, see who can find the little bit of value on each turn, and who can come out just enough ahead to see who wins.
In a value competition, though, I really love the way that some of these new Kassai lists look. You know, able to kind of repeat, get those dynamo triggers. Really, again, if we're talking about value, Kassai can really get that. Especially if Charles is blocking some of these Centauri Sabers, you know?
Exactly, and his blocks are probably not going to be as efficient with so many attack actions in the deck. So it looks like Charles opting here to go second. I'm going to let Joseph go first. I'll be honest with you, I'm not very familiar with this matchup. I'm excited to see how it goes. I think that this Kassai list is not so much on a lot of attack reactions, so Charles probably not going to get blown out quite as much as you see in some Warrior matchups, but going to be able to put down some block cards, try and get some value to draw off the top. We shall see. Do you think that Charles is running any other headpiece besides the crown?
Charles? I don't think so. I can't imagine that he would not want that extra gold piece to start off the game with. What I am thinking about, though, let's see. Yeah, exactly. Crown of Dominion. What I am thinking about is the clashes. Charles going to be able to clash, fairly easily on Joseph here.
Pretty freely, as long as his deck cooperates, right? As long as he doesn't clash into another non-attack
block card.
Card.
Exactly.
Yeah. That has been kind of a downfall of some of these Victor lists.
So yeah, I think Joseph representing this Crown of Dominion as well, likely going to be on this kind of draw-heavy deck.
We'll get it kicked off here. Pitch it just at the very beginning. The Raisin Army getting pitched. Gonna go directly to the bottom. And speaking of clash cards, with the Clash of Might, and just like you said, winning the clash. And Joseph's just saying, you know what? That's enough value for you to have this turn, and moving
Move to
Arsenal. And so with the Might token on turn 1, Charles going to start out with, looks like an Enlightened Strike.
I think an Enlightened Strike, yeah. I think exactly an Enlightened Strike here. Maybe go again.
Gonna be 6, go again. Now, if I'm playing, I have been known to play a KO a time or two, and I actually don't like having the Might on the Enlightened Strike because it just makes it to where now it's gone up to 6, and it's a very nice, easy, like 2-card block, and they get the full value out of their blocks as we're continuing to talk about this value game that they're playing.
Yeah.
But Charles here just opting for the go again.
Yeah, Joseph thinking about that Valiant Dynamo block, but is expecting another attack, and this is the perfect attack to use the Dynamos on.
Able to cover that breakpoint with the Dynamos for sure. Good call there on Justice's part. Being a little patient with the equipment block. Really
Yeah,
easy
you're
to
absolutely
snap
right.
off.
Six is the easy 2-card block. 5 is kind of this real sweet spot right now. It used to be you wanted to do Volt 4, but everyone's running those Sink Belows, Shelter from the Storms, and so now 5 is kind of where you want to be.
So talk to me about this Spoils of War here, as we see Charles blocking out all 4 here.
So yeah, Spoils of War used to be in Warrior. It used to just kind of be a go again text. You really used for that go again text, but in this Kassai deck, you really want to make that copper in order to fuel a blood on your hand's turn. So Joseph really wants both gold and copper. Gold to get repeated go again, and then the copper to fuel the blood on your hand's turn. Charles says, I just like gold. Give it to me, daddy.
Visiting the gold main estate, making another gold and 3 mites just to get it started, and drawing his card and just passing, just IPing himself for 1 turn.
But he's going to be able to use that 3 might, for the next turn.
Yeah. Gonna have the Unsheath coming out. Or is that Draw Swords?
It's Unsheath.
Unsheath coming out with the 5, going to Trounce. There's the Pummel. We talked about this. The non-attack action showing up, using the gold to re-pummel. Charles winning the first one after reclashing. And getting the full value out of this Trounce. So
Joseph making sure that he gets his reaction phase, because he needs to make the reaction.
Gonna get the hit and paying 1 into the greens here with the run through. So now the next sword coming in for 4. And Charles just going to take it. Already got crazy value off of the Trounce. So this looks like it could be a really pretty punishing big turn. He kept the entire grip.
Joseph, with the Dynamo's refresh, how's he going to handle this? Because he's going to take a lot. He may take a lot of damage here, and I think that's a Macho Grande in hand.
Gonna send the Rouse.
So Charles really on this aggressive Victor game plan. Go again, arouse, go again on the Enlightened Strike is just going to deal a ton of damage here.
Feels so weird. Just be like, you know what? I'll just block 1 into your 10.
Yeah, we thought this game would be a game of kind of incremental value. Charles just saying, I'm just going to hit you really hard, really fast. We talked earlier in a previous game about like getting a train going, and Vincent wanting to get this Malefic Incantation train going. Charles, if he can get this Visit the Goldmane Estate train going, may just be able to blow Joseph out of the water.
Oh, I actually can't count. That is for 11. So, gonna take 6 after blocking the 5. And then Enlightened Strike, just gonna be the...
It's going for 7.
Just for 7. It's blocking
Joseph.
6, gonna keep 1 card in hand.
Yeah, nearly donating everything. Won't be able to refresh. May not be able to refresh here.
Oh, he just
has 2 cards in hand.
So here comes the Vigor. So at least one of these Sword Swings is going to be free. Oh, Gorganian.
Oh, there it is, Gorganian. Haven't seen that card in a very long time. Couldn't block with it, obviously. but now is able to. Oh, and now is going to Kassai ability each sword now with an on hit.
It's just the first weapon that hits here. I'm gonna run out this card from the Hunter, just Sharpened Senses. Another trounce coming out though. These trounces give such value. So crazy.
Wins the first. And now he's gonna draw this chokeslam.
Guess the goal from winning the Golden Sun is from showing the Golden Sun and winning the Clash as well. So much, already so much gold here on the victor's side. But presenting
here's one of those reactions, Blade Flurry.
Gonna take a little bit of damage and get a gold here on the Kassai side. And going to Pain the Grains for the next turn, because the swords are free from the Garganian Tome, and we're going to clash again. Another gold here for Charles. So much gold for this Victor Goldmane already. Sitting at 5.
Yeah, sitting at 5 gold. Another visit to Goldmane Estate would go absolutely crazy. Cranial Crush. Charles saying, you can't draw cards if this hits. Joseph, that's exactly what he wants to be doing.
Cranial Crush, a pretty good card in this matchup. Not always with the most relevant text, but here showing that it is a extremely good card to bring in against these Kassai. Again, remember your heavy meta, you know? This coming in for 10, gonna have to put at least 2 cards in front of here, and the Dynamos if he wants to be able to draw cards next turn.
Has a Vigor 2 gold. Yeah, I mean, probably wants to draw a card to make his Centauri Sabers free. Has a little bit of armor to give if he wants to. Doesn't have the entire Warrior Fridge, but has a lot. There it is. Fate Foreseen. Knows what he's going to draw into if he wants it.
Blocking 8 on this. Taking 2. Taking 1. I tell you what, I cannot math tonight to save my life.
No, I think it's just kind of hard to tell exactly how much might he has. If it was 1 or 2, and he's going to go to Arsenal.
So the Crush effect not coming in here on Joseph. Able to block out enough. Does have a Vigor token to start this turn off.
Again, talking about trains, Joseph has been able to kind of train these Vigor tokens for the past 3 turns, paying into the Grains of Blood Spill. Another Unsheathed.
Charles not liking the hand, it looks like, just kind of blocking out a ton here. Or is it going to be... Oh yeah, just pitching the Thunderquake for the Miller's Grindstone. Just lots of blues. Not a lot of value lost, and just swinging out the Miller's Grindstone.
But Joseph, with the exact answer to the Miller's Grindstone, if you're coming in for 4, I'll give you 1 card in this Valiant Dynamo. Ooh, there it is. An Eye of Ophidia. Opt 2, and then gonna draw 1.
Such a good little interaction there with the eye. Able to kind of pick exactly what you want to pick up. And now the swords are going to be free with 1 floating. Kassai activation here. This deck just kind of hums, doesn't it? Once you get everything kind of moving along, it hums pretty good.
It really does. As long as he can keep making this gold, just so that he has this out, that he can always just pop a gold in order to make his turns, more manageable in terms of resources.
Exactly. Slice and dice coming out here, but again, with the trounce, did he not win both of them? I guess he did not. As he does, as Charles did not make the vigor or the might tokens here. Gonna block 9. And there is the in the swing. So a little bit of the what we talked about earlier with the warrior able to blow him out in the reaction step. Charles having to think here like he may have a D-react.
Charles has been giving up his hand pretty consistently in these past 2 turns. Really trying to block. Might be trying to maybe kind of dig for Goldmane Estate. Has a lot of gold. Could turn this game around with a very timely Golden Estate.
I think that Charles recognizing the gold here that can be generated on Kassai with Kassai activation, and trying to block that out and stop this engine that Joseph has moving along here,
and is willing to sacrifice the quick dodge flexors to do that.
He really did. So
Hammer for 4.
Charles just trying to find his spots. Like a good Guardian player, find his spots where he can take damage and where he needs to present it. So with the block, with losing the trounce there, didn't have any value necessarily to lose by losing like some of the mights or vigors that he would have generated. So just going to send the Miller's Grindstone, try and be a little more efficient, and gonna see if we clash here. And
Joseph losing the defense react here.
And we know that Spinal Crush coming up in the next hand. So if I'm Joseph, I'm if I can push any damage, I'm gonna try really hard to push damage here because I know that Spinal is gonna be coming up.
I think you're absolutely right. Chose to keep a 4-card hand here. Could have always just donated 1 extra card alongside the Valiant Dynamo, but no, choosing this hand goes pretty big.
The Sharpened Senses coming out, the Kassai activation, Slice and Dice, the Sword for 4, but let's be honest, it's probably 5.
Slice and Dice buffing the next one, yeah. Already has go again because of the Sharpened Senses.
And giving a little bit of buff to this first one, the Slice and Dice does. But let's see if Charles can continue with the game plan of denying the gold from the Kassai activations.
Yeah, he's done such a good job about that.
Blocks with the Spinal Crush, but does cover all 5, and then gets blown out with
Blade Flurry. Exactly. Yeah, did not matter what he blocked with. Had the Blade Flurry the entire time.
Joseph getting the gold generation there, and this coming in for a 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. As we count it out together. Thanks, Joseph. I appreciate the help. Gonna block 6, obviously pumping the saber up to 8, and Charles again left with 1 card in hand. What do you think it is? Think it's a blue?
I think it's a blue. Has kind of chosen to take this really defensive stance. I think Charles should have taken a little bit more damage. He was at 32, took at least 2 damage in this exchange, but still, again, at a relatively high life total here.
think he's actually down to 29 there.
Yeah.
Didn't count the last 2 damage. Joseph donating the card and the dynamos. Dynamo's getting so much value here.
And now that Charles has slowed down this game, Joseph can really eke out that extra value. And we saw it in the last turn, right? Every time that Charles blocked, he had to buff the sabers by 1, was able to refresh the dynamos. I mean, that's a lot of damage that just keeps coming very incrementally.
Is this the 2nd or the 3rd unsheath? Do you remember?
I believe this may be the 3rd. I've seen quite a few of them.
The sword gonna come in here 4/5. Joseph holding 1 card. Charles finally saying, you know what? That's fine. I'll take the 5. Putting nothing down to block. Paying into the bracers here.
Pitching a blue. I think that's his trot along.
That does look like a trot along, yes.
Coming for 3. Blocking with an attack action.
Taking 1.
Buffs it up to 4. There it is. Incremental damage. 1 more damage, and then refresh the dynamos. Has a vigor token. Has 2 vigor tokens for the next go around. I mean, like you were saying earlier, Josh, Joseph is kind of... This deck is humming, and Charles now has the opportunity to do something.
And is just going to send the Command and Conquer, but representing...
This is a pummel. This is a pummel. Yeah, this is absolutely a pummel. Tunic,
Joseph
1 floating.
1 floating, the tunic, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just... It still feels bad because it is just going to be vanilla damage because Joseph has not been on an arsenal in a while.
Yeah,
a while.
You're absolutely right. Joseph has just choosing to use all of his cards every turn.
Takes the 9 and has to discard a card. So I guess, we do have the disruption coming from the pummel.
He gives up a blood on her hands. Doesn't really do much. Joseph, not any copper to speak of. And these 2 vigor tokens will really be able to, fuel this turn if he needs it.
Okay, draw swords. There we go. Draw swords. Drawing the card to replace it. 2 still floating from the vigor and activates Kassai. So the swords are going to be free with 2 floating still. So could just keep rolling vigor tokens if he's able to get a hit. But again, Kassai is active, and we've seen Charles really respecting this gold generation. Let's see if he continues to do that. That arsenal has not moved for Charles in a while, though. Very curious as to what it is. Charles looking like he's going to line up 2 cards here, respecting at least 6. Saying, if you have the reaction, you need to have it.
Charles really thinking.
Let's go again.
They always have go again, don't they?
They always do. Blade Runner is always there. Pays into grains. Keeps that rolling, gets another gold. 2 very rich heroes here in the arena. Lining up a 1 card block, taking 1, going down to 17.
Oh, in the swing to add 3.
Oh,
Refresh
there
the
we go.
dynamos. Joseph, again, not on an arsenal.
This deck just seems like it doesn't need it.
Yeah, when you draw cards every turn, you don't need an arsenal. And Charles going digging.
Looks like he has to filter a little bit.
Found it.
There goes yeah, he's gonna visit. He's gonna visit Daddy and say, "Hello, Dad. I would love more gold. Thank you."
6 might tokens. Or 7 might tokens.
And a draw. Is that a draw into a chokeslam?
Has a chokeslam if he wants it. Or a debilitate. Oh, going digging. He wants something a little more meaty.
Something a little more disruptive. Or is he digging for the... What is that? What is the arsenal? I have no idea. This hand, a little bit of a challenge for Charles. Wasn't sure how to block with it. Now trying to figure out how to convert it on offense.
It's the next turn that he needs to survive too, and so really thinking about what attack gets him to the next turn, because at 14 health, Joseph could do some damage.
That's okay. So
and he goes for a disable.
That's what Charles has been holding. He's been waiting for the arsenal to be filled. It has not been. It's actually the blue disable, so only coming in for 7. So Charles finally giving it up and saying, "You know what, Joseph, if you're never gonna have anything in the arsenal, that's fine. Just don't." Sitting the Command and Conquer on an empty arsenal, sending a disable on the empty arsenal. Gonna send the Clash though, and again winning a Clash as expected here. And look at this.
Joseph did give up all of his cards on this disable though.
And he is on an arsenal. And here comes the Rouse for 14. Go again.
Joseph could take all of this, go down to 3, but is staring down, what is that? Is that Enlightened Strike and Cranial Crush? Yeah.
So at least another 7 behind it. So
7 plus 7, 14, plus 7, 21, 7, 7, 7. Charles's lucky day.
So falling to 12 here. And then just...
strike for 7.
For 7.
Yeah,
4
Charles
card
picking
21?
Yeah, pretty good. Charles, went digging for the gold main estate, was rewarded.
Gonna put raise the army in there along with some of the armor. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just covering it all up. So just
looks like he found another gold main estate.
Just gonna pass turn, and Charles has been biding his time and has grabbed tempo here when we got into the late game.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a Macho.
Found the big cards. Yeah, Macho Grande could close this game out, but instead chooses Spinal.
Here comes the Spinal Crush, threatening to turn off Go again on Joseph's next turn.
Has to give up 2 cards.
Plus the Dynamos, yeah.
Could be 1 card. I don't know if he's refreshed his Dynamos in a while. Hard to tell. Because he's been using the... Oh, there. Yeah, he does have Dynamos. Joseph really needs to do some damage here because he is facing down 8 might tokens.
And of course, I didn't pay attention in the pitch zone. Did he pitch? He had to pitch the Macho. Yeah, he has no.
Yeah, he had to pitch the Macho. Macho would have absolutely just cleaned this up.
I activate Kassai here. As you know, this is such a good thing that Kassai has, right? Like, let me give myself an on hit on a turn that I know that you want to hold cards. And here comes the spoils. So not only do you want to hold cards, I'm going to punish you so hard by me making gold and also making copper. But I also wonder how many blood on our hands are left for Joseph, you know?
Yeah. So Blood Flurry, getting him down to 8. Gold and copper. He has 1 card in hand.
Joseph thinking about grains here. He declines the grains and passes the next sword.
Yeah, does not have, really needs to threaten the rest of the life here in order to just not get blown out by this stack of might tokens.
Yeah,
Charles,
there's not a world that he can present 14 here.
No, he did just take 6 off the first hit. They just haven't updated the life totals.
You are correct. So he's definitely can't, but doesn't have anything to present 8. Go ahead and cash in the armor. You have it on board. You might as well, before the game's over and you lose the value.
Is that a Command and Conquer? I think you might have a Command and Conquer. Another might, not like you needed it. Yeah.
So it does go to 7, or it goes to 7. Charles taking 3 goes down to 5.
Had the reaction that, again, only turned on because he defended with a card. Is that a Remembrance? Going digging.
Thunderquake, knowing that he had the blue on top.
Macho Grande.
And there's the Macho.
Can he pay for it? Is that a Remembrance?
A cool version of Macho.
Yeah, is still going digging. Just looking for resources to close this game out. Not 14 to 10, it's 5 to 10. Looking for something to use these 8 might tokens on.
I think he picked up a CNC there.
He picked up a CNC, chooses to send the CNC instead of
gambling to dig more.
Yeah. In order to send the Macho Grande.
So CNC
8 plus 6 for 16, 14?
14, yeah.
Yeah, 14, representing Pummel. But I mean, Joseph just has to give the entire hand.
Box 15 pushes in all the armor.
Yeah, Pummel, not going to do anything here. Remembrance, yeah, it was a remembrance.
With the remembrance. I love
and
it.
Choosing to go back to Daddy's house.
I would love to remember going back home.
Victor says, I remember going back to Daddy's home.
Now, he is down to 3 gold. So we're not going to see the massive amount of might tokens made.
It's not going to be 8 again, but it is going to be... It should be enough to kind of close this game out.
Especially now that he has bought all of the armor that Joseph has.
Yeah.
But, again, let's remember, Victor is down to 5.
Victor, yeah, very low on life here. Will, get a full grip in order to kind of crack back, but could also whiff. Has a couple of go again pieces. One Rouse the Ancients left. One Enlightened Strike left, maybe.
And now and he does pick up the Golden Sun, but Overpower just not very good text into these warriors. Run so many reactions and so many reactions. Well, I guess this list doesn't run as many reactions, so it is still pretty good.
So yeah, definitely sending the Golden Sun.
Ten Overpower with 2 floating. The pummel being represented. Charles did have 2 cards left over last turn, and then played the Remembrance and left 1 in hand. How long can you play around the pummel in Joseph's spot?
Yeah, Charles already used 1. Is he even playing more than 1? Is the big question here. Joseph says, yeah, you can have my hand. Charles, is it a bluff? 5 to 10. Joseph, 1 card left in hand. Yeah, just updating life totals here now.
So 5 playing 10 here as we're finishing up round 2 of Blood on the Bayou series number 3. Tells him to just take the damage down to 9. So Joseph here, 9 playing 5. Going to Arsenal and pass. Those sleeves on the Command and Conquer mat, they get lost pretty quickly.
Yes. There it is. Goldmane Estate. 4 might for the next turn. Crucially, the next turn. Now, can Charles close it out this turn, though?
Just in the CNC to attack the Arsenal.
Does he? He's represented it for so long now.
How long does he keep the bluff?
Now. He can't have it now. I think in my if I were in Joseph's shoes, I block 6. Let me have it if you have it. But I cannot respect it anymore. I must do damage on this turn before you can pop those 4 might tokens.
I agree, yeah. He just blocks 3.
He had it.
And he does have the pummel. He does have it.
He had it the entire time.
Takes 7, down to 2, loses the Arsenal, loses a card in hand. Oh man, it's one of the most punishing things you can do in Flesh and Blood, and Guardians love doing it.
How long has he held on to that pummel? Had many opportunities to use the pummel.
The patience. And
now, this time it's especially backbreaking.
So he does crack the gold, so the swords are free.
Swords are free here. Does he have a go again? Does he have a source of go again? Could represent an on-hit with the Kassai ability. Gonna check the graveyard. Maybe looking for block cards, looking for defense reactions. I don't think Charles is playing defense reactions, but is playing quite a few block cards. Might have already used all the trounces, though.
Man, we are in for a grind fest here in round 2. The heavy meta revisited. We are going to raise
the army?
An army. We are. That is
only
the raising army. He only had 2 gold because he had to pop a gold to get the free swords or to draw a card. Could have been drawing that raise the army, but now has the mercenaries. And it is so difficult as the Guardian player to clear this, and we've seen the Remembrance, and we've seen Enlightened Strike, and I'm pretty sure we've seen all the Enlightened Strikes. So that's the source to go again. We've seen at least 2 Rouse the Ancients. So now Charles it's gonna, to clear out these cell swords, it's gonna be tough. But does he have the Goldmane estate in hand?
Yeah, has a Goldmane estate. Could, keep this train going of might tokens. Might to might to might. His deck is, pretty thin and shuffled all. The only thing he shuffled back in was Goldmane estate.
Trying to not get blown out here.
Yeah, trying not to get blown out here, but Joseph has to have... he's got to have a go-again source here.
If he does, then he does get to swing at least one sellsword.
Yeah. One sellsword, and then the last Centauri Saber. No reactions. Doesn't have the go-again. Doesn't have a source of go again.
All right, so with 4 might, let's see if Joseph was going to live long enough to be able to use the sellsword that he paid for. Another Goldmane estate coming out, so another 4 might token is going to be on the next turn. Yeah, might
have 5. Just paid these sellswords to watch him die. Activate going digging. Has found another Goldmane estate and has the Macho Grande.
12 dominate.
And that has to be it. Joseph at 2. This is better than Overpower. There it is.
That's gonna be it.
Did not have a source of go again. It was just a D-react.
What a grind fest. I know that there are a lot of people out there that reminisce for the heavy meta, and there we are reliving it, getting the Guardian and the Warrior decks super thin, getting down to a razor's edge. Charles doing a good job of playing patiently with his pummel, playing super patiently in the mid game, finding his spots whenever he had them, blocking out whenever he needed to. Very well played by both players.
Charles, I think now going 2-0 here at the Blood on the Bayou Circuit Series, the third series. This was round 2. We'll see you back for more Blood on the Bayou. Thanks for joining us.